Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next brainstorming session with me, Chris, from TGIK Games. Today, before I get started, I have to say the last video about, what was it? It was the Color Machine, the time-traveling game. I said there was going to be a surprise at the end, which I never revealed, so my bad. The surprise is Aiden's actually taking that game over. I will not be working on it. Aiden asked for it to be his baby, and so it will be his baby. Now, I will work on my own version of it, but that's if I get to it. And I have so many other things going on that there's probably little chance that I will get around to it. But that doesn't mean that I won't take notes on it if I'm thinking about it when I'm at work or at lunch or whatever. So we'll see. But for now, it's Aiden's thing. So any progress on the Color Machine will be in Aiden's department. So today we're actually going to be working on this blue game here, which is a last line of defense. If you play or watch Minecraft videos, there is a game where players get to fire missiles at each other. Missiles are very slow moving, and players are essentially trying to defend their wall. And I wanted to make a board game experience around that. So this is what that game is. So I've taken this this blue highlighted area here. I've plugged it in over here, and I have a page of notes, which is very brief, so this might be a short video, but we're going to work our way through it, and I'm just going to refamiliarize myself with this. So maybe there's a fog of war of the radar. I don't know about that. Maybe there are tokens that are face down on the generic track. I don't know about this generic track. I don't know what I was thinking there. The tokens may or may not be actual missiles. I like that. I actually like that a lot. Okay. So actually, okay, this is, I think the last couple of videos I've worked on either story or player experience or theme. That has been my approach. Well, this time I'm going to let the experience come out of the mechanics. So this is going to be a very mechanics-driven design. At least it feels like it's going to be mechanics-driven. So let's see. This is mechanics. Mechanics I like. And we're going to go with the some missile tokens. Tokens are not actually missiles. Okay. And I misspelled missiles twice. High five to me. Tokens may okay, but the sides always know when a missile is inbound. They just don't know where exactly unless they take a measure to increase their information. Okay, so the idea is that missiles are moving across the board towards you. So you know that a missile is on its way, but the players who fired that missile, they don't know. They know that if what their tokens are real or not, and they can always look at their tokens. So players that fired the missile can look at the tokens if they are face down. Okay. Something else I've said in other videos that, and maybe I said it on the podcast as well, that war is something that does not interest me as a designer. But my inspiration for this game is coming from Minecraft, and I feel like it's a simulated battle. I don't have a good on my note here. I wrote simulated war. Or better yet, this is abstract war. What? This is a terrible color to highlight. Anyway, abstract war doesn't bother me the way that simulated war does. I feel good. I feel okay making a game like this and calling it a war game and firing missiles because players aren't actually going to die. Players can't actually get hit by these missiles. It's their wall that they would be attempting to stop, and players will have time to get out of the way of missiles. So if anybody out there is wondering why I'm okay with building a game that actually uses the terms like missiles, that's why. It's an abstract-y version to me. And also it could be rethemed at some point. So anyway, enough of that. Team. Oh, this is it's a team game. However, players can control multiple pawns. So that means that pawns will be running around on the ends, on either end of a board. This is their team side, and they will be deploying missiles and shields and whatever else may be. Whatever else that may be. Might be. So because it's a team game, and I like the idea that this game could be 2 players, it could be 5 players. More specifically, it could be an odd number of players because you just have one player control 2 pawns. Or you just have, you say there are 8 pawns aside and you split up however you want and both teams get to control all 8. And the 8 pawns get to move, like everybody gets an action per turn, and you can pick a pawn and you can deploy something based on that pawn's position or something. The point is, actually, and this is a good note to make because it's something to keep in my head. What's going on here? Okay. The point is, because both sides are going to have an equal number of turns, the number of players in the game is not important. As long as everyone feels like they are getting an equal amount of play. So as long as the turn order just goes in an order, it doesn't matter what pawns are moving around on either side of the board. It might come up, it might not, but there's a lot of flexibility in this. So, yeah. I feel like there should be more to that point, but there's a lot of flexibility in the number of players that can play this game. And I'm quite literally thinking this could go up to 20 players, and it could support that many. Okay, mechanics. So, firing missiles, because I've been thinking about this for a couple days now, and I have a visual for you. So this will be on a hex board. Now imagine that. Well, let's just say this is the one portion of the board blown up, and let's say they're going to be something called gravity spots. So players are going to be firing missiles at each other. Players can also deploy gravity spots. They can also deploy shields. And the way that gravity spots are going to work is, let's say that in this hex here, there's going to be a 2. And that means that gravity spot's going to have a power of, so in this hex here, there's a gravity spot, and it has a power of 2. If there's a missile coming along, say, here, a missile is going to have a movement of something, a movement. So let's say that the speed is 2 as well. So you have a gravity spot here that's 2, you have a missile here, it's 2. The way that missiles move, it would be forward 2, and if the missile is within the gravity influence of this spot over here, so you had a 2 missile going forward, you have a gravity spot here that's worth 2, it's going to pull the missile off course towards it 2 spots. So the missile started here, it moved forward 2, the missile's now here, the gravity spot, which is this spot here, is going to pull it over twice. And then the missile will continue on forward. Maybe, and then you could almost say that if this is 2, it could move backwards. Oh, yeah, that's good. As missiles move across the board, they will be influenced. Oh, look at me. I'm sorry, guys. How about I actually make this 150 so you can read? Look at that. As missiles move across the board, there will be gravity spots that influence the travel of various missiles. I will never learn how to spell missiles or type it or whatever. M-I-S-S-I-L-E-S. So hard. Travel of various missiles. Missiles will always travel forward first. I did it again. You know what? I'll fix it later. Whatever. Missiles will always travel forward first, then move towards move towards a gravity spot. Gravity spots can, let's say, what we're just going to call it swallow. No, we're not going to call it that. Nah, fine. Since can swallow missiles. Unless they are a specific type of missile. Yeah, okay. Yay, spell check. Gravity spots can swallow missiles unless they are a specific type of missile. If the right kind of missile is fired, the gravity spot will be destroyed. Okay. So let's go to our notes page. The hex rectangle board, players fire missiles at each other. They also set up gravity points that alter the path of missiles and whatever else is on the board. Whatever else is on the board. I don't know what I meant by that. Random keep reading. Random asteroids and things can come in from the side. Missiles move at the speed they are given. Then course is altered by gravity spots. Okay. So there are, we're going to make a line here for gravity spots, even though I don't have much. I really only have a basic concept of what they're going to be doing. Items. Oh, let's call this debris events. Whatever. I don't like it, but we're going to stick with it. We're just going to say asteroids. These come in from the side of the board. So we'll just jump back to the. So this is our board. One side is blue, the top is blue, the bottom is red, and they're firing missiles at each other. They're traveling along, and then from the side of the board, there will be things that come in from space, and there's stuff that you'll have to deal with. They could be, I don't know, they could be alien races. They could be, that might be interesting. It could be asteroids. It could be, who knows? Who knows? But we are going to write down alien races. Or ships, I should say. Okay. These come from the side of the board and interact with the stuff on the board. And I know I say stuff and things, and I really want to get that out of my note-taking, but I quite literally, this is one page of like an index card that, yeah, I don't have a lot to go on with this game. So, alien ships and spaces. Okay, alien races and ships. We're just going to leave that there for now. Players can build shields. Okay. Shields. Players can deploy shields. I mean, what else do we need to say about that? Players can deploy shields. I don't have anything extra to say about that. I mean, I think that's it. I mean, that's the end of my notes page that I wrote the other day, and I think the mechanics are sound. Players are running around on their own side. They can, how do they, well, I guess the question becomes, how do I want to do this? Let's do, all right, we're going to do questions. How do players deploy the things, whatever the things are? Okay. Deploy the missiles, shields, and whatnot. There we go. Whatnot. How do they get them? I mean, there's no theme in this. It's no theme. But people running around on an imaginary wall, and they're trying to protect it from incoming missiles that are traveling slowly. I mean, yeah. Oh, radar. I forgot to let's do notes. Players will be able to deploy radar of some kind. This will allow them to radar basically. So my thinking is on the board. Okay. There are spots on the board where teams are allowed to see incoming things. Incoming threats or non-threats. I mean, it's essentially stuff, but, you know, we're trying to avoid those words, right? Threats and non-threats. Okay. These, you know, actually, spots is bad because that's a bad descriptor. Lines. We're going to call them lines. Okay, so these lines. So imagine, let's go back to our little visual here. So let's just say that there's an imaginary line that once a missile is coming down our picture here, and there's an imaginary line about here, and once a missile token reaches that line, it is flipped over, and everybody can see what it is. That's the idea. These lines can be moved with things like radar, or let's say alien signals. I don't know, alien signals, and whatever else might come to mind. Sure. Mind. Yeah. That's really it. This game's quite simple. So you got, yeah, okay, all right. How do players deploy the missile shields and whatnot? I don't want to have a bunch of cards for this. I want to say I want to do tokens instead because I want to do tokeny funness. So actions need to be. Nope, this is a note. This is not a question. Actions need to be preset and available at all times. What kind of rarity are we going to make? What kind of rarity will there be? There certainly won't be a rarity of spelling mistakes. Let's see. What kind of rarity will there be of what? Missiles? Low. Lots of these guys. Lots of these. Lots of these. Shields? I have no feel for this section right now. Shields. I'm gonna worry about rarity later. I'm not. It's not clicking in my head. Okay. Players are running around on their side of the board. They're deploying missiles. They're deploying shields. They're dealing with things. Sorry. Extra bits that are coming from the side. And the goal of the game is to blow a hole in the other guy's wall, the other team's wall. Fairly straightforward. It's just really fleshing out like one mechanic, two mechanics. I have to flesh out how do they get there? Really? I feel like there's no. I think like okay. Complete your thought, Chris. Really, we have to flesh out how players are able to put stuff out there, and how do they get the resources in order to put stuff out there. Simple enough. Yeah. And once that's determined, oh, movement. Okay. Well, movement is okay. Missiles. Let's go back up to missiles up here. I said this is going to be a short one, and here I am rambling on. I hope you're able to follow along, but this is the joys of game design. It turns into a here, there, and everywhere. Firing missiles. Missiles are deployed with a movement score, and that's how far forward they will move. Oh, missiles can also have their course changed. So the example I talked about earlier was you're moving forward, missile's moving forward, then it gets dragged to the left, and then it keeps moving forward. Well, others will be forward and then dragged to the left, but they will also change their course. Missiles can also have their course changed. Yes. Okay. That is actually that's not enough of a note. Missiles that were previously traveling forward can have, nope, that's actually not good. Traveling towards the enemy wall can have their course changed by the gravity spots. Their course changed by the gravity spots, meaning they will be traveling towards the side edge of the board. A problem might arise where because you can do, oh, sorry. The problem might arise that you could never actually get, there will be so many gravity spots out there that missiles will never actually make it to the end. However, there are types of, there are missiles that will be affected by course change, and there will be missiles that are not. And so if players need to figure out how not to, then they can fire those missiles. So there's mitigation in that. Okay. There are gravity spots. We'll worry about those details later. I think that's it, and I think that's it because I keep saying that's it, and then I keep writing more notes. We're just gonna fix a little typo here. So if you have any thoughts or questions, leave them below in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer, and any suggestions, because this is kind of a lot to play with here, and there's plenty of room to bolt stuff on. So any thoughts, please let me know, and I'd be happy to have a chat with you about it. Take care. Bye.